Economic globalization is a spread of trade, transportation, and communication systems on a global scale in the interest of promoting international commerce. When talking about economic globalization, there are two different types of economies you should know about: protectionism and trade liberalization. Protectionism is protecting one's economy from foreign competition by creating trade barriers, while trade liberalization is the act of reducing trade barriers to make international trade easier between countries. These trade barriers are usually tariffs, which are required fees on imports or exports. This means that if this pen is $1 in country A and country B has a $5 tariff on pens, this pen would become $6 in country B. Canada's tariffs on food is a good example of protectionism because Canada places high tariffs on foods like dairy products. But on the other hand, if the Trans-Pacific Partnership and the Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement between Canada and the European Union is established, Canada would achieve trade liberalization when it comes to the importing of food. Since the world that we live in is globalized, the majority of the countries tend to side more with trade liberalization than protectionism. There are various ways a country can make trade easier with other countries. Free trade, which is the trading of goods or services between two or more countries without tariffs or taxes, is one of the many ways a country can make trading easier. On March 11, 2014, Canadian Prime Minister Stephen Harper and South Korean President Park Geun-hye signed the Canada-Korea Free Trade Agreement, which made Canada remove 97.8% of its tariffs on imported goods from Korea, like Kia and Hyundai cars, while Korea removing 98.2% of its tariffs from imported Canadian goods, like beef. Another way to make trade easier is to create a trade bloc, which is an agreement made between governments to reduce or eliminate trade barriers. Canada, United States, and Mexico are part of the North American Free Trade Agreement, or NAFTA, which makes them a trade bloc because of the goods and services that can easily be exchanged to and from each country's borders. NAFTA was first created in 1989 with only Canada and the States as trading partners, but on January 1st, 1994, Mexico joined, creating the official NAFTA. Since NAFTA is a free trade agreement and also a trade bloc, it eliminates trade barriers between the North American countries to increase investment opportunities and establishes procedures to reduce trade disputes. Recently, on February 20th, 2014, a gathering was held in honor of the 20th anniversary of NAFTA, and one of the big discussion topics that arose were about the Keystone XL pipeline. The creation of NAFTA has caused manufacturing jobs from developed nations like Canada or the United States to transfer to developing nations like Mexico in order to reduce the cost of products because developing nations have less government regulations and cheaper labor. This is called outsourcing, and to give you an example, the United States outsourced approximately 791,000 jobs to Mexico in 2010, and it was quite easy to transfer all these jobs because of free trade agreements and trade blocs. The World Bank, World Trade Organization, and the International Monetary Fund are other significant organizations when it comes to trade. All three organizations were created because of the Bretton Woods Conference that was held from July 1st to July 22nd in 1944, but the World Trade Organization was officially established on January 1st, 1995 when it replaced the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, otherwise known as GATT. The World Bank, WTO, and the IMF have many similarities when it comes to their intended purposes. All three support the expansion of international trade, discourage protectionism, and prevent conflicts that may lead to another world war. But there are also significant differences too. The World Bank increases growth and reduces poverty in developing countries in a variety of different ways. An example is their investment in education since 1962 in developing nations like Bangladesh, Chad, and Afghanistan. The IMF provides short-term loans to countries when an emergency occurs, like when Yemen received $93 million from the IMF on April 5, 2012 due to Yemen's ongoing struggle with terrorism. The WTO deals with the rules of trade between nations, settles trading disputes, and conducts trade negotiations. In May of 2013, Japan and the European Union brought a case to the WTO regarding unfair renewable renewable energy services offered in Ontario. Therefore, the WTO ruled that Ontario was found guilty of discriminating against foreign renewable energy firms. Although these organizations have many benefits, they also have many drawbacks as well. Let's take a look at the World Trade Organization as an example. The WTO solves trade disputes between countries in a peaceful way. However, only focusing on the developed nations increases economic disparity all around the world. The WTO also lowers the cost of goods and services for those who live in developed countries. However, in order to achieve these low costs, labor rights and environmental concerns are usually ignored. Finally, the WTO promotes economic growth in developing nations. However, they do so by favoring the rich nations and powerful transnational corporations, which may end up harming these developing countries even more. With all of this training going on, you may start to wonder if there are any problems that arise from it. One of the biggest issues created by economic globalization is issues regarding the environment. Sustainability, or the degree to which the Earth can provide resources for human needs, is one of the main concerns. An example of increasing sustainability of oil and gas is to use more renewable resources like wind and solar power, specifically developing the world in a way where the needs of the present-day generation are met, while preserving resources for future generations is called sustainable development. In 2008, Canada passed the Federal Sustainable Development Act, which changed the way Canada makes decisions and actions regarding environmental sustainability. Another method to making the Earth more sustainable is stewardship, which is taking responsibility of Earth's resources so that future generations will be able to have access to them as well. According to the 2007 Canadian Living Planet report, the average Canadian has such a big ecological footprint that if every person from the globe lived like the average Canadian, it would take approximately 4.3 Earths to support the whole population. To reduce Canada's ecological footprint, which is the measure of the amount of land it would take to meet the needs of one individual, Globe 2014, which is North America's largest international environmental business summit, was held from March 26th to March 28th in Vancouver, BC. Now, what can one do to grow economically while also keeping in mind the sustainability of Earth's resources? Well, investing in knowledge economy may be the answer. Individuals or businesses that use education, research, innovative ideas, and informative technologies for a variety of constructive purposes can increase the wealth and prosperity of their nation while keeping the environment safe. The cool thing about knowledge economy is that it directly applies to us. By learning about economic globalization, we are able to find out about the issues that surround this topic, think critically about solutions to the various problems we face, and eventually take action to contribute to globalization in a positive way.